Good morning, students. Today we will learn about sexual reproduction in plants. This topic is very interesting as you will come to know how a plant actually reproduces, how a flower is converted into fruit, and the seed inside that fruit is germinated into a new plant. So let's begin. What is reproduction? Reproduction is the biological process by which new individuals or offsprings are produced from their parents. Sexual reproduction is the type of reproduction which involves the fusion of gametes. Now, the fusion of gametes means male gamete will fuse with the female gamete. As male and female gametes both are required for fusion, it means sexual reproduction involves both the parents. This is very important point that sexual reproduction, it involves both the parents. Example, development of fruit and seed by fertilization, as in brinjal, mango, etc. Now, let's see how sexual reproduction actually occurs in plant. You all must have studied in your previous class that flower is the reproductive part of the plant. So let's focus on flower. First of all, let's learn about the parts of flower. These are sepals, petals, stamens, and pistil. Now see this picture. This is the rain lily flower. This I have clicked from my terrace garden. In this flower, these white colored structures, these are the petals, and these are the stamens. And the central part, this one is the pistil. So the sepals and petals, these two are not involved in reproduction. Therefore, these two are non-essential parts. And stamens and pistil, these two are involved in reproduction. These two are essential parts. So this point is very, very important that stamens and pistil are the reproductive parts which contain the germ cells or the gametes. Now see the longitudinal section of flower. In this section, all the floral parts are clearly visible. This is stalk, this is sepal, this is petal, and these structures, these are stamens. And this central structure, this is the pistil. Now stamen is further divided into two parts, anther and filament, and pistil is divided into three parts, stigma, style, ovary. I'll tell you later when we will study the male reproductive part and the female reproductive part, then I'll tell you about these further divisions in detail. Now, the types of flower. On the basis of presence of reproductive parts, there are two types of flowers, unisexual and bisexual. Now see, uni means one. So unisexual flowers are those flowers which contains only one reproductive part, either stamens or pistil. Example, papaya, watermelon. Now bisexual flowers, bi means two. So bisexual flowers are those flowers which contains both the reproductive parts, stamens and pistil. Example, hibiscus, mustard. See these two photographs I have clicked from my terrace garden. This is hibiscus. You can see in this flower, pistil is also present and there are numerous stamens. Can you see these stamens? So this pistil is also present, stamens are also present. Hibiscus is bisexual flower. Similarly, in mustard also, this is the pistil and the surrounding structures, these are the stamens. So both the reproductive parts are present. Mustard is also bisexual. Now let's learn about the reproductive parts one by one. First, male reproductive part. Stamen is the male reproductive part and it produces pollen grains that are yellowish in color. Now see the structure of a stamen. Stamen is further divided into two parts, anther and filament. This theca-like structure, this is the anther, and the stalk-like structure, this is the filament. Now what you need to learn that the pollen grains which contains the male gamete, these pollen grains are produced inside this theca-like structure, that is anther. Okay. Now let's see the female reproductive part. Pistil is the female reproductive part and is present in the center of a flower. Now this pistil is divided into three parts: stigma, style, and ovary. Now the topmost part, stigma. This is the landing platform for pollen grain. Pollen grain will come here only. Now then this middle elongated part, this is the style, and the basal swollen part is the ovary. Now ovary contains ovule and the egg cell, that is the female gamete, is present inside this ovule. Okay, so remember that egg cell, female gamete, is present inside ovule. Now let's learn about a new mechanism, that is pollination. Now you all know pollen grains are produced inside the anther and the female gamete is produced inside the ovule. So the pollen grains are need to be transferred. The transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma of same flower or another flower is called pollination. Now pollination is of two types: self-pollination and cross-pollination. When this transfer of pollen grain from anther to stigma occurs within the same flower, then it is termed as self-pollination. And when this transfer occurs between two flowers, then this is termed as cross-pollination. Now, pollination does not occur on its own. Okay, so there are some pollinating agents, which means these agents carry the pollen grains to the stigma of the pistil. Some pollinating agents are wind, water, insects, and birds. You can see in this picture here, insect is the pollinating agent. Now, the pollen grains are transferred onto the stigma. Now, what will happen? This pollen grain will germinate on the stigma and will form the pollen tube. This pollen tube will grow through the style and will reach the ovule. We all know that egg cell, that is female gamete, is present inside the ovule. So these male gamete, this male gamete will fuse with the female gamete and will give rise to zygote. Okay, so what is fertilization? The male gamete produced by pollen grain fuses with the female gamete present in ovule. This fertilization gives rise to zygote, which is capable of growing into a new plant. So what is fertilization? It is the fusion of male gamete and egg cell giving rise to zygote. Now let's learn about the post-fertilization events, which means what exactly happens after fertilization. See, the zygote is formed during fertilization. Now the zygote divides several times to form an embryo within the ovule. And then this ovule develops a tough coat and is converted into seed. And the ovary grows and ripens to form a fruit. So these two post-fertilization changes are very, very important. Ovule is converted into seed and ovary is converted into fruit. Meanwhile, what happens? The other parts, petals, sepals, stamens, style, stigma, they fall off. But have you ever observed any floral part persisting in the fruit? Think. Very common example from our day-to-day life. See, this is brinjal. You can see the sepals are still persisting. Another example is tomato. In tomato also, sepals are persisting. Means the sepals, they do not fall off in the case of brinjal or tomato. Now these are some pictures which I have clicked from my terrace garden. See, this is the flower of sponge gourd. In local language, you call this vegetable as tori. Then this is the pollinator bringing the pollen grains to the stigma. Then after fertilization, the ovary is converted into fruit. This is the matured fruit, and this matured fruit contains seeds. These seeds will germinate into a new plant. So what is germination? The seed contains the future plant or embryo, which develops into a new seedling under appropriate conditions. This process is called germination. Hence, sexual reproduction is complete as new seedling has been produced from the seed which is developed by fusion of gametes produced by the male and the female reproductive part. So see how interesting this was, how a plant reproduces sexually. Now you all know. Now these are some questions. Try to solve these questions. And I would like to give you one activity. Try to collect dhatura flower from your neighborhood and try to identify the male and the female reproductive plant part in that dhatura flower. Thank you, students, and have a nice day.